Hey there. Happy Friday to you. Really happy if you're a Blues fan, right? I'm Bernie Nicholas, and this is the Bernie Show presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Just a reminder before we dig into the Blues' huge victory over the Winnipeg Jets, you can watch all of my videos here at sportshubstl.com. You can read all my columns at sportshubstl.com. And also just a reminder, because I know some of you prefer the podcast instead of like watching me and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not exactly the most handsome man, and kind of dress poorly and all that. If you just want to listen, I'm just kidding. Self-deprecation is a good thing. If you want to listen, maybe out for a walk or whatever, there's a podcast version of this Bernie Show video available to you also at the wonderful sportshubstl.com. So the Blues came out for game 3 Wednesday and actually Thursday, pardon me. See, I'm still dizzy from that win. They came out for game 3 Thursday with desperation and inspiration, and that is a potent mix. And that is really a potent mix when there's also 18,000 plus feverish lunatics packed in the Enterprise Center, urging the boys on as the Berserk home team jumped on the Winnipeg Jets like a pack of rabid hyenas early in game 3. It was fascinating and fun to watch. It was just like, wow. The final score was 7-2, as we know, and that was basically just the conclusion, the bottom line, last line conclusion in this autopsy report, because the Jets needed an autopsy report after this one, metaphorically speaking, of course. What I will always remember about the game 3 is the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes. The opening 10 minutes had a soundtrack, if it had a soundtrack. I always tap into my past here when I think of stuff like this. My soundtrack for the first 10 minutes of this game would be something hard and furious, maybe Bulls on Parade by one of my all-time favorite bands, Rage Against the Machine. And if you will allow me to embarrass myself for a minute, I will quote the lead singer of Rage Against the Machine, Zach De La Rocha, who opened the Bulls on Parade track with these 4 shouted words: "Come with it now." And he actually yelled it twice. "Come with it now." And the Blues absolutely came with it now last night in game 3. Bulls on Parade, love that song, but I also loved the Blues on Parade last night because we kind of two worlds meshed there. And the Blues tore into the fine gentlemen from Winnipeg as if their existence depended on it. And come to think about it, their existence, the Blues' existence, did depend on it because the note came home down 0-2, as you know, in the first round series. And a home loss in game 3 would have put the Blues kind of in a really, really position of despair in the intensive care unit, right? And with Winnipeg seizing a 3-0 lead, if it had happened in this best of 7 survival test, I don't know that the Blues would have gotten out of the intensive care unit to overcome the crisis. I really doubt it. I mean, history tells us you're down 3-0, especially to a really excellent team like Winnipeg. I mean, you're basically doomed. So this was the epitome of a must win. Come with it now. And they did. When the Blues came marching in for game 3, the Jets probably didn't expect to be basically out of the game 5 minutes in the context. I mean, certainly by the end of the first period. But I'm telling you, I think that they were beaten in the first 5 minutes, maybe the first 10 minutes, as the Blues continue to pour on hit after hit after hit. The Blues had max level energy so early. I mean, it was just amazing to watch. They had max level energy, max level intensity. They were hepped up. They were crazed. They were violent, legally violent, but violent nonetheless. Imagine a hockey team competing as if, let me think, every player on the team received an actual injection of adrenaline and then chugged about a quadruple espresso minutes before opening faceoff. The Blues look like that kind of team. I mean, that doesn't happen, but they looked at like a team that would have done those things. It was just their early frenzy was amazing. With malice aforethought, the Blues went into the first period with a zealous determination to leave the Jets demoralized, defeated, and probably bruised as well. Not after 60 minutes, not after 40 minutes, not even just after the first 20 minutes, but right away. And that's what they did right away. They just went right at him and didn't stop until basically the Jets submitted. We're talking about the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes. Winnipeg was used to playing before their great whiteout crowd in Manitoba. It was a different time here in the Lou. This time the Jets were playing in front of a wipeout crowd in St. Louis. Pardon my language here, but dear Jets and your fans, welcome to the mean streets of our hard-ass town, and don't enjoy your stay, okay? We know the final score was 7-2. We know that the Blues are back in the series and can even it up 2-2 if they win Sunday in Game 4 at home. We know that Pavel Buchnevich had 3 goals and assists. We know that Robert Thomas had 4 assists. And he's playing hurt, and gosh, what a performance by him. We know that Cam Fowler, and this is one of the Doug Armstrong's best trades ever as the Blues GM. Cam Fowler had a goal and 4 assists, which set a Blues franchise record with, for the most points, 5 by a defenseman in a postseason game. That's amazing. But the madness of this first 10 minutes was something to behold. And I sort of went through the sheets today because I wanted to just pull some facts that just really highlight how ridiculous the Blues were in terms of their just coming out like they were bonkers. And so I want to get to that. But let's take a break here because I really want to tell you about DraftKings, and we appreciate DraftKings for presenting the Bernie Show. You know, baseball season's officially underway. Heck, as you know, the hockey playoffs are well underway. It's time to step up to the plate or go to the rink with Draft Pick 6. I should say DraftKings Pick 6. Think of DraftKings Pick 6 as your fastball down the middle. It's a slap shot. It's a breakaway. It's the easy way for you to play for cash and take a shot at a big win. What you do is just select 2 more players, whatever the sport is. You choose the sport and then pick your lineup in effect. And basically you're asked to choose, if you see the number there, let's say it's a baseball player. Let's say, well, do you think a hitter will get, an individual hitter will get 2+ hits, or do you think he'll get less than 2 hits? And then you decide which one you think is the best swing. So you can look, if you do your research, you can look for good probabilities there. But anyway, that's what this game's all about. You're just looking for more or less of a particular stat and, wagering, and DraftKings Pick 6 accordingly. Pick 6 is available in most states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Missouri, and more. So cash in on your baseball knowledge, your hockey knowledge. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. So download the DraftKings easy-to-use app and use the code STL Sports. That's important. Use the code STL Sports for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. See, I'm so excited I can't talk. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, let's get back to our story here on the Bernie Show. The way the Blues on parade came out Thursday in the opening minutes, swarming the visitors, I thought maybe Jim Montgomery had found a way to circumvent the rules by rolling 4 lines. Well, what do you mean rolling 4 lines, Bernie? They always roll 4 lines. I'm talking about rolling 4 lines on the ice at the same time in the beginning of the game. Of course, I'm being facetious. But my gosh, the Blues were swarming and swarming and swarming and hitting and hitting and hitting. And they clearly had Winnipeg outmanned. It really did seem like they were playing with extra guys at times. It was an emphatic show of force. All right, now I love this stuff. I got to admit, I love this. That's why I'm a numbers nerd. I love to find stuff like this. All right, here's what happened in the first 10 minutes of this hockey game. Buchnevich scored 48 seconds into the game, and then he scored again 3 minutes and 11 seconds into the game. That's a franchise record, by the way. 2 fastest goals by one player at the start of a postseason game. 3 minutes, 11 seconds, 2 goals, right? The Blues got physical, and they weren't fooling around about this. I mean, they got really physical. Listen to these numbers, please. In the first 5 minutes, when the Blues, not only sprinted out to a 2-0 lead, they also out-hit the Jets 13-1. 13-1. It gets even better. In the first 6 minutes and 35 seconds, Game 3, they out-hit the Jets 17-1. And by the time the Blues reached the 10-minute mark, just 10 minutes into the game, they had 26 hits, and the Jets only had 9. I mean, they all but just ran the Jets over with the damn Zamboni. It was absurd, but it was lovely to watch if you're a Blues fan. By the time Fowler made it 3-0 with 4:09 left in the first period, the Blues had laid I think it was like 28 hits on the Jets, maybe a little more. I did screw that stat up, but it was a lot. The wipeout was on. That's the bottom line. And though Winnipeg ultimately ended up with more hits in the game, it was kind of funny, and I was a little surprised because there was such a deficit in who's delivering the smack, right? Let's be honest here, and let's just state the obvious. The Jets delivered most of those shoulder slams long after this game was competitively over. Most of those Winnipeg hits on the Blues players kept coming, but it was too late. And by the way, they just weren't nearly as violent as the hits that the Blues laid on the Jets. The Blues had to get on the attack right away in Game 3, and they all but ran the Jets out of the building and put them out there on 14th and Clark to maybe grab an Uber for a ride back to the hotel. I'm sure that some of the Winnipeg players would have preferred to do that, actually, after the first 10 minutes. I'm only kidding. But they just about ran the Jets out of there even before a Blues fan could finish their first, maybe their second or third cold beer of the night. That's a conservative estimate. The Jets could have used some beers themselves, but they had to do with ice packs. Now listen to this. Pardon me. By the end of the first period, the superb Winnipeg center, he's so good, Mark Scheifele, he'd absorbed 5 hits in the first period, and he was rocked by 7 hits for the entire game. The Blues really targeted Winnipeg defenseman Josh Morrissey. He got clobbered 8 times in the first period, and the Blues really went after. Their forechecking was back. Their forechecking was ferocious, and their forecheckers put a total of 19 hits on Winnipeg's defensemen in the first period. That's how the Blues took back the 5-on-5 game. More on that in just a bit. In the first 10 minutes of Thursday's skirmish, 14 different I'm excited. 14 different Blues players had delivered at least 1 hit on a Winnipeg player. And 7 different Blues had banged into the Jets for 2 or more hits. Heck, even Jordan Kyrou was in there banging with the guys that made multiple hits in the first 10 minutes. How about Buchnevich too? In the first 10 minutes, he not only scored 2 goals, but he got physical because he landed 4 hits. The Blues definitely brought the tenderizer to the ice. No doubt about it. The Blues simply could not escape this Blues frenzy. And again, I'm talking about just the first 10 minutes of the game. And the Blues did other things really well in this game, the things they needed to do. And I'm going to get to that in a minute because I'm happy to welcome a new sponsor to the show, our friends at Blue Chew. Now, men, don't get all like, oh, what's he going to talk about? Listen, men have to go through this stuff, right? I've gone through this stuff. There's nothing to feel awkward about, all right? Men, especially around my age, this is why I'm talking to you about it. I think it's good. Please listen up. I'm happy to tell you about Blue Chew, and there's no reason to be, like I said, shy about this because this is just a part of life for many, many men, right? Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhanced intimacy and performance. Blue Chew is the go-to when you finally turn your attention away from sports and focus on your significant other. Guys, make sure you're ready to go when the time is right, and you'll get the first month of Blue Chew free. You're just a few clicks away. See, they're going to help you out. Sign up at bluechew.com and consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you are approved, it is a simple process. You will receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You just simply order it up online, and you'll be increasing your horsepower, and thankfully, because of Blue Chew. Trust Uncle Bernie here when I tell you there's nothing more attractive to your partner than confidence. And Blue Chew can help give you confidence where it counts. So this is my final pitch here. It's important. Make life easier by increasing your pleasure, restoring your confidence. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free. When you use the promo code Bernie, just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's the promo code Bernie. Use that, please, and you'll get that deal. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Bernie Show. All right, let's get back to some of the other highlights of things that I thought stood out and things they had to do in defeating Winnipeg in the wipeout game Thursday night at Enterprise Center. Number one, the Blues got their mojo back at 5-on-5 play. This was very, very important. Strong two-way play at 5-on-5 has been the foundation set by Jim Montgomery as soon as he became coach on November 25th. The Blues were absolutely one of the best 5-on-5 operations in the NHL, and that's a fact since Monty became that coach right around Thanksgiving, right? But in the first two games, and this is the thing that really frustrated me because the Blues were in position to win both of those games. It's actually amazing the way that they got dominated 5-on-5, that both of those games were, in effect, one-goal games. I mean, the first game was 5-3, but the fifth goal was an empty netter. Anyway, the Blues were absolutely dominated by the Jets in 5-on-5 in those two games up in Manitoba. The Jets, in the two games, both games combined, the Jets outshot the Blues 39-26 at 5-on-5. They had 20 high danger shots. The Blues had only 7, and Winnipeg outscored the Blues 5-1 at 5-on-5. So even though the Blues basically lost 2 one-goal games, they lost really because they got away from what they do best, which is to rule the ice just about every time, a lot of the time at 5-on-5. So they had to reestablish that, and they definitely took care of that Thursday night. Listen to these numbers. In taking that 3-0 lead in the first period, and we're talking about 5-on-5 play only, the Blues had 77% of the shot attempts, 72% of the shots on net, 100%, all of the high dangerous chances, 70% of the scoring chances, and they outscored Winnipeg 2-0 at 5-on-5 play. And for the entire game, the Jets had only 8 shots at 5-on-5. The Blues completely smothered them in the 5-on-5 battle. How's that for a turnaround, huh? Really, really impressive. Two, the Blues had to get their star forwards cranked up. Top 6 forwards, Buchnevich, Thomas, Kyrou, Shen, Neighbors, and Snuggerud, did not have a point of 5-on-5 in the first 2 games. Well, that changed in game 3. Those top 6 forwards combined for 2 goals and 5 assists at 5-on-5 and at all strengths. Those 6 forwards combined for 4 goals and 7 assists. That is great work. That is really great work by the top 6 playing in this 5-on-5 situations, playing in every situation. Those fellas bounced back in a big way. Number 3, the Blues had to suppress Winnipeg's 2 truly elite players, Mark Scheifele and Kyle O'Connor. Those 2 encountered, as you know, in little resistance in the first 2 games, and they basically put the Blues down with their timely goals. And those goals were kind of easy, but at least they put the goals away. You tip your cap, you give them credit for that. Well, the Blues took advantage of the last line change at home, which gave Coach Jim Montgomery a chance to get the matchups he wanted on Scheifele and Connor. And here's what happened. I think he put the Shen line on them. Scheifele and Connor had 3 shots on goal overall for the night combined. Combined 3 shots on goal overall. And they had between them, these 2 guys had 1 shot at 5-on-5 for the entire game. Now that is doing a job to shut down the other side's top scorers, their top forwards. Number 4, the Blues had to remind Winnipeg goaltender Connor Hellebuck that he has a shaky track record of postseason games. He's outstanding during a regular season. There's no doubt about it, man. Much respect. But they had to remind him that, hey, dog, the last 2 postseasons, you lost 8 out of 10 games and you unraveled, and the Jets were basically booted out abruptly. First round exits. They lost each of those 2 series 4-1. And Hellebuck was one of the main reasons for the collapse. Well, at Enterprise Center in Game 3, the Blues scored 6 goals on 25 shots on Hellebuck before he was yanked for the game. And what was really fun about it, they sent in the backup, and the first shot the backup faced, Parayko scored a goal. So the Blues were tough on the goaltenders last night. Hellebuck's worst moment, the Jets were starting to crawl back in this thing a little bit. That the Blues' initial buzz kind of wore off for a spell. And, Winnipeg scored. It was 3-1. And you know what they're thinking on their bench. All right, boys, we get 1 more here, and it's a game. Well, Hellebuck just completely screwed up that idea. That misplay behind the net when Thomas was back there with him, got the puck out to Buchnevich, and boom, the Blues are up 4-1 after Winnipeg at least tried to make it a game, cutting the Blues deficit to 2 goals. No more. Good night. Number 5, the restoration of the Blues 5-on-5 identity was crucial, but in the grand scheme of things, in this series, especially coming back home 0-2, the Blues had to continue burning the Jets on the power play. They had to make that still work for them as well. They had to get their even strength in 5-on-5 game going, but they also had to keep the pressure coming on the power play. And they did it again in Game 3 with power play goals from Buchnevich, Kyrou, and Parayko. Through 3 games, the Blues have 6 power play goals, 15 setups for a power play success rate of 40%. Now, that's going to be difficult to sustain, but the Blues got this stuff clicking. And now that they've had the 5-on-5 element back into the mix in such a strong way, you like their chances a lot more, certainly, than you did after the first 2 games. And that brings us to our last point, one that you know well. The Blues defended their headquarters in Game 3. They now makes it, you go back to the regular season, you add this one, it's 13 consecutive wins at Enterprise Center. Now, the Blues are going to have to work, and they're going to have to work just as hard, and they're going to have to play better. Maybe they had a lull time in the second period and all that last night. Listen, man, I'm not fussing. They played a great hockey game. But that in Game 4 Sunday, Winnipeg's going to come out a lot stronger, a lot tougher. They're going to have their hair on fire. And so the Blues are going to have to take Winnipeg's best shot, and the Blues cannot afford to let down, especially early in the game. They have to, here I go again, they have to maintain their rage against the machine style of play that we saw in Game 3. So Blues on Sunday, once again, come with it now, all right? That does it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our sponsors, DraftKings and Blue Chew. Let's go Blues in Game 4. And a reminder that you can watch all my videos and read all my columns, and you can tap the podcast version of this show at sportshubstl.com. And there's a million great things for you at sportshubstl.com. We got a strong network of contributors. I love them all. Love you all too. I have a great weekend. Thanks for watching The Bernie Show.